There we go. Hello, beautiful people. Here we are again. Oh, so nice to do this. So nice to connect. Well, the subject for today is integrating your spiritual practice or your spiritual life, however that works for you, or just simply spirituality into daily life. I'm fascinated by this topic because it never was a problem for me. I never saw it as two separate worlds. As soon as I started being curious about more magic or the meaning in life or the presence that moves everything, that the order of the universe, the unfoldment of consciousness, I never thought that was separate and that it wasn't in my job and it wasn't in my driving the car down the road. Yeah, I didn't see the separation of it, but I do hear many times of people going, gosh, I feel like I'm growing here and yet this feels stagnant or old. And so do I let go of this to embrace this? And then what does that mean? Where do you go if you embrace this? That way you let go of that job, but you embrace spirituality and don't have a job or believe you don't need to do anything. It's about bringing that into what you already are doing. And naturally, things can change. Things end, things evolve, things have a beginning and an end. So you might be changing jobs just out of natural interests or how things are unfolding in your workplace, right? But I think what really, really confuses people is that because when you start to meditate or recognize the sacred in yourself, or maybe in a retreat or in a certain situation, you then compare that to what appears ordinary, which would be the work, the conversations at work, driving down the same road to work, going home to the same home, to the same people in your home. And then suddenly there's this disconnect that something is alive and then something appears to not be so much. And so that's where I think people get confused and believe that there's this mundane life and this spiritual adventure and that it's separate. And like I said, I've never seen it as separate. What I've always seen is, and how I experience it, is that by having this new direction or this new awareness of God, of the universe, of the universal unfoldment, of the sacred, of the magic and everything, you bring that into what you're already doing. So as you drive to work, you recognize the sacred or the magic or the universal play in that drive to work. As you are at work doing the same job, you recognize the sacred or the universal God in every step of your day at work, whether it's conversations, whether you're on a factory line, whether you're picking fruit in a garden for a job, whether you're cleaning, recognizing the sacred in that. And what that does is it brings them both together as it should be, that the sacred or your experience of God isn't in one location. It isn't in a building. It isn't on one day. It isn't in a retreat. It isn't just when you close your eyes and meditate. It's when you live in this moment. And so what it does, it takes God, the universe, the sacred out of the box of where it should be. When I go to church, then I'm connected. When I go to a retreat, then I'm connected. When I close my eyes and meditate, then I'm connected. I mean, all of that's true, yes, but that puts the infinite into such a limited area or box or location or time frame, which it can't be. The infinite can't be finite. That's like the opposite. The eternal can't be put into the structure because that's like the opposite too. So the infinite has to be everywhere all the time forever, right? That's what infinite is. That's what infinity is. It means everywhere without a stopping point. Time throughout all time without a stopping point. There's no barriers to this experiencing, which means at work, in normal conversations with your family at home, as you walk around your normal daily life, is experiencing God, is experiencing the universe, if you choose to recognize it. What I love about that is the ownership comes back to us. We are the ones that impose the barrier. We are the ones that impose the separation or the restriction or the finiteness. We have an idea that at that location, on that day and at that time, I connect with God. And the rest of the time, I can just be a human and doing human stuff. Well, you can connect with God the entirety of your life, throughout every conversation, throughout every situation, throughout everything that you're doing, and nothing needs to change except where you're putting your attention. Are you recognizing the sacredness and the universal play and the connectedness and God, whatever you call it, in this moment? Are you? Now, then people go, but I feel something when I go to church. I feel something when I'm in a group in a retreat. I'm calm and quiet when I close my eyes and meditate. Well, that's great. That's creating the distracted world versus the ability to be present and to bring our attention back to one place, right? So there's scatteredness and then there's focal point. So it's a good starting point. But then you have to take it out of that box. All of these things are guiding us to see where we're just unconscious and unaware, and then we start to become conscious and aware. So the tools for you to live it, for it to be an infinite experience for you, for it to really be an eternal experience for you, that you're living in this presence all the time, it means it can't be in one place at one time of the week. It can't be just in that retreat center. It can't be just when you close your eyes. It can't be, because it's not eternal then. So it doesn't make sense. So that idea, that limitation has to be in us. How do we change that? Very good question. I have a meditation practice. I have tools that allows me to change my attention. And then those tools invite me to see, even with my eyes open, my connectedness or where my attention is. If you don't have a meditation practice and you're just on your journey of exploration, play with where your attention is in this moment. Play with being present. Play with seeing what the mind is. Play with what are those thoughts. Play with time. The thoughts are always time, the future, the past. Play with this. Become conscious to what is actually happening in your experience, what is actually happening in you, in your day, in this moment, in this last hour. If you become curious and playful, well, then you start to recognize the eternalness of your experience is actually in you. And then there's no separation. There's no limitation. There's no God's over there. There's no God's up there. There's no God's on Sunday. There's no God's on that month. There's no, this is more sacred than that. Things inspire us. The Sundays inspire us. The church inspires us or reminds us. The retreats inspire us and allows us to dive deeper. But they don't own that experience. That experience is you. You can walk it every single day. You can live it every moment. That is your right. So in that, I mean, I understand when people go, gosh, I'm on my path, on my journey, and these people feel like they aren't, and I can't connect with them now. So it feels like this is more spiritual and this old world is mundane and unspiritual. But the truth is you bring it back to you. You can live in the same house, drive the same car, go to the same job, go do the same things, have the same conversations, yet your awareness has changed to being present and recognizing the sacred in this moment. That is super empowering. It's actually the only way it can exist is in this moment. It's up to you to recognize it. It's up to us to keep making that choice. And it becomes our journey of waking up. Comes back to you. Do it. Play with it. Incorporate the sacred, the universe, God, into your daily life and live it. Now that's something worth playing with. That's a life worth living. Big love to you. I hope you find that help. And I hope you play with it. Until next week.